Coach Jerome Taylor from Monroe County High School. This is my team PLC meeting. We are going to talk tonight about increasing parent involvement during parent-teacher conferences. This is for Ms. Rhonda Baldwin for my EDOL 647 class. If you can scan the camera, you can look at my team here. We have Miss Julie Knuckles, health and PE teacher, 9th grade, also girls assistant basketball coach. Mr. Clifton Hamilton, boys football and boys assistant coaches. He's also our chemistry and biology teacher here at Monroe County High. And behind him you have Coach David White. He is assistant football coach and co-team teacher here at Monroe County High School. Guys, we're here today for just to discuss some things about how we improve our attendance during parent-teacher conferences. Our school is experiencing a decreasing percentage of overall parent participation during parent-teacher conference meetings. And another thing, how can we as a school and district promote parent participation as a way to increase parent participation across the board? The introduction. If you just follow along with us, you can look at the board or you can look at your copies that I've provided for you guys. This is some things that, you know, we all know as a PLC team that we have to try to get around here to school. All parents want their children to become successful, caring adults. Similarly, many parents want to be involved with the formal education of their children. Sometimes, however, they don't know where to start, when to find the time, or how to go about making positive connections within our school. As a staff, we need to break down barriers and connect with parents for overall student achievement. Parent involvement during our September progress report was at an all-time low of 16%. 87 parents of our 529 students here that attend Monroe County High School attended during parent-teacher conference. Guys, as you well know, that is a low amount. Some benefits that have been identified that measure parental involvement in education include if parents come to parent-teacher conferences, their students are going to perform better, they're going to have higher grades, their test scores are going to be a little better. Long-term academic achievement, whether they want to go to secondary school or, you know, some type of career-ready environment. Positive attitudes and behaviors change for the better, and we have more successful programs and the schools become more effective. Here's the research questions that we ask ourselves as a PLC team. What barriers do we face as a community school for low parent participation? How can we as a high school staff increase parent participation during our parent-teacher conferences? Some of the review of literature. This is V. Carvalho. In his book, or in her book, she states parental involvement is based on social, class, and cultural conditions of the family as a way to enhance the educational experience of the student. Family-school relations are relations of power, but most families are powerless because of low socioeconomic status. Upper-level school parents' involvement decreases for many reasons, such as distance to school, child care, financial reasons, transportation, and work. Coach Hamilton, I know me and you have talked several times about transportation with about our parents, you know, traveling from Mud Lick and the Fountain Run area here in the county to come to a parent-teacher conference is kind of demanding for some of those parents. Do you have anything?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that. I mean, we've seen several cases where, maybe our football players, maybe just a student in the classroom, they don't have that support at the parent-teacher conferences simply because they live so far out of the county and they may not have access to, transportation. I believe their desire to want to be involved is there. It's just the means of doing so is not always prevalent in all cases. So I think, transportation is a big problem there.
Thank you, sir. This is Epstein, Sanders, Simon, Salinas, Jansen, and Van Voorhees. Their review of literature that I was really overwhelmed with is how family and school works together to enhance the educational experience for children. Well, in our school, and we recognize this, some of our kids do have great parental support, but we have a lot of students in this school that are at-risk students. Those parents usually don't show up for parent-teacher conferences, and those are the ones that we really need to come in just for help, for remediation, enhancement purposes, or things of that nature. They also went on to say in the book, partnerships can improve school programs and school climate, provide family services and support, increase parents' skills and leadership, connect families with others in the school and in the community, and help teachers with their work. However, the main reason to create such partnerships is to help all youngsters succeed in school and in later in life. When parents, teachers, students, and others view one another as partners in education, a caring community forms around students and begins its work. This is Mr. Hornsby, guidelines for implementing parental involvement activities and initiatives. He gives several activities there that we will look into later. Roles for teaching professionals to enhance parental involvement within the school, and also barriers for parent-teacher relationships to promote the educational opportunities for students. Miss Livingston and Livingston, I believe they're sisters, discovered the importance of home visits and its educational value for childhood development. Originally a preschool home visitation program for at-risk students. We kind of revamped that here, putting in a new method that we'll get into a little later. This program has been adopted by our migrant program to reach at-risk students throughout the district at all grade levels. And that's where Miss McKinney, who's just now joined us, she works with a migrant program here. Trussell, Hammond, and Ingalls. Through the IEP process, parents and teachers are considered valuable members and equal partners of the student's educational enhancement process. The latest revisions of IDEA 207 continues to ensure that parents will be full participants and included in all stages of the special education process, including identification, IEP development, and assessment of student progress. Coach David White works a lot with IEP development and those students. Special education professionals will engage in professional activities which benefit individuals with exceptionalities and their families. I know we are really working hard, and that's why families is underlined in that last sentence there. Thanks to Miss McKinney and all her efforts there. Methods and procedures. Documentation of parental involvement during previous parent-teacher conferences, September 2015. That was a very low number, guys. I'd have to look through the stats here just to know. I want to think it was around 82 or so, 86 maybe. Documentation of parental involvement during our most recent parent-teacher conferences in November of 2015. You'll see that number has almost doubled. and determine the difference in attendance. Other methods and procedures will look at the demographics of the parents in attendance in previous parent-teacher conferences and the demographics in the most recent one. And there was difference in the demographics for the parents in attendance that you'll see later. One of the methods that when we talked about as a PLC team that we implemented in November, that we included a parent attendance requirement for students that participate in extracurricular activities. Within that number, as you can see, 172 parents compared to 87 in the September parent-teacher conference, where there was no attendance requirements for for students that played extracurricular activities. We talked about this as a PLC group, also with administrative staff and as coaches. You know, I have to compliment them for making sure that their teams and their parents was notified to come into the parent-teacher conferences. And, you know, after the parent-teacher conferences was over, where they checked, done their grade checks, took it in addition to remediation and enhancement opportunities for those students. You know, they did go in and broke apart and had team meetings with parents and students and players. So it worked out well for our numbers in that method. Also, another method was the delivery of information of parent-teacher conference enhanced from the September to November conference dates. We really talked about that from September to November of how we can increase parent participation. You know, we utilize the one call now, of course the new school web page design, we put it on Twitter, all the Facebook pages. We made sure that we tried to get the notifications out to these parents. Here's some of the demographics of our high school here in Monroe County. Currently we have 529 students. Caucasian students we have 448, which is about 84.6% of our students. African American students we have 43, and that is 8.1%. Hispanic students we have 38, 7.1. Free and reduced, 480 students, 90.7% of our students are free and reduced. We get meals free here at Monroe County High School. Students eat breakfast and lunch free. Also, the afternoon meal program now is also free, correct, Coach? And it's just fabulous for our students. Special ed students, we have 53, which is roughly 10% of our student population. Results and findings from September to November. As you can see, this is September 2015. Our parent attendance was 87. This was without the parent attendance involved in athletics. There was only, 9 of those come to the first one and the second one. Caucasian parents in attendance was 80. African American parents in attendance was 5. Hispanic parents was 2. The free and reduced program, even though we did serve meals, still was a very high number compared with the total number in attendance. 77 of 87 received free and reduced meals. Now, with our initiatives that we put in place and this was the big one, parent attendance with students that are involved in athletics or extracurricular activities, you can see that number really increased for parent attendance, 172 to 87. Caucasian students, parents that attended, 152. African American students only slightly up, and mainly because some of our African American students are not involved in extracurricular activities. Hispanic students, pretty big bump, and mainly because our soccer team is mainly Hispanic. And free and reduced, even a substantial number here of 150 compared to the total attendance of 172. Okay, here are some other results and findings. After the September parent-teacher conferences, it was recommended by the PLC group and to the athletic staffs for all winter sports students and their parents to attend the parent-teacher conference for grade checks, remediation, and enhancement opportunities for their students. I think this has really worked well, coaches, especially keeping some of our students at grade level, getting them college and career ready, also keeping them eligible to play athletics or in good standing with a band, soccer teams, whatever other teams that were listed. Athletic teams were required to show up for physicals and disciplinary policy processing after the parent-teacher conferences was completed. That was a big thing for our winter sports activities, especially both the basketball teams and the incoming baseball and softball teams. It has to have physicals done, before they can take the field. The requirements for athletic students and their parents to attend produce results beneficial to the academic achievement of students and enhance the relationships within the community. The parents thought this was a really good process. Instead of their students coming home with 15 or 17 forms, today, tomorrow, next week, and they'll be all over the place. They got to take care of all their paperwork, policies, and procedures in one night, and it really worked out well for our attendance, and it worked out well for the families and the students as well. Other results and findings: after the September parent-teacher conference, several messages were sent to accommodate the public with school announcements. Twitter, One Call Now, Facebooks. Of course, we put it on the school television channel. The web page, Infinite Campus emails were a big hit, and letters to parents. Here are the follow-up actions that, as a PLC group, that after the September, November meetings that we've taken into account, and I'll probably ask these guys some questions here. What do you think about the first one, Coach Hamilton? Continue to require athletic students and their parents to report for grade checks, remediation, and enhancement opportunities. Do you think that went well for our kids?
Yeah, I think so. I think we've seen a lot of improvement, and on a personal level, I think it's something that I would want for my daughter. For her, say she was a future student athlete, I'd want her to be required to, be submitted to a grade check or remediation or any kind of enhancement opportunities that were made available. It's important that our kids know that they need to be students first and foremost, and then athletes second. So I think that's something that worked out great for us, and I think as long as we continue to press forward, we can continue to see good improvement with that.
I agree with you, Coach, and Coach White, I'm sure you're in agreement. Your son's graduating this time. His enhancement opportunities and going on to play possibly at the college level in football is, I think it's a tremendous asset to him. Janan, do you? Okay. Okay. Something else we done this time. We provided food for parents and students during the parent-teacher conferences. Janan, you think that went pretty well?
I think so, yeah. It was a nice addition.
It was a nice addition, and I think some of the parents, especially with the younger kids, appreciated that. I do. Consider student-led parent-teacher conference meetings. Now, we've considered this. We've not adopted it yet. We're still in that process of seeing how that will work. More on that later, I guess. Take donations of school supplies and clothing needs for students through the Youth Services Program. We done that. I think you ended up with a bunch of shoes and socks and.
125 pair.
All right, 125 pair. And, you know, it was a big event, and they shared with our youth program when the parents came in. That's just fabulous. Follow-up actions by the PLC. Of course, this time too, we offered a couple of door prizes. We're going to offer more door prizes next time for parents in attendance. And I want to think that's mainly school supplies or maybe gift cards or things like that for parents and students. Offer extra credit for parent attendance. Of course, that's for the student to get the extra credit. Some of the struggling students in some classes take advantage of this, and they will have their parents come just for that extra credit process. Provide a daycare area with activities and games for parents with young children is something we come up with. We have several young parents here that has younger children, not just in the high school level, but in the grade school and younger kindergarten and pre-kindergarten classes. Something else we said, make transportation available, whether it's by bus, van or whatever. If parents would like to come and check student grades and the opportunities that we have available, we're going to try to make transportation available to those parents that have issues of getting back and forth from our school during that parent-teacher conference. This is the one thing that all the PLC members said, that we want, most of all, we want to make this event something that parents want to attend, whether it's for remediation and enhancement for their student, whether it's for the food, the camaraderie, taking care of the extracurricular activity policies and procedures, extra credit for their students, or whatever. We want them here to attend. Conclusions. Of course, we're going to provide incentives for parents to attend the parent-teacher conferences. Like I said, we're going to give them possible gift cards, door prizes. You know, I think it's 2 percentage points for extra credit for the students. Plus, they get to meet coaches, teachers that they may not have the opportunity to meet during the course of the year. We're going to provide feedback about student progress for remediation and or enhancement opportunities. And that's what the parents want to hear. If they have a student that they want to stay on top of and possibly get them college or career ready, their help is a big help to us as teachers. Of course, we're going to deliver information about parent-teacher conferences in a variety of ways. We're going to keep utilizing Twitter, the Facebook accounts, of course, letters home to parents, TV stations, and whatever other means, email, to get the word out. A big thing that we noticed this time when we done our activity for the extracurricular students that play activities, we had an influx of Hispanic students. Several of those parents did not speak English. English is not their primary language. So we do need to provide interpreters here on site during that time, and of course when we make calls home to those parents, we may need an interpreter to help with that conference. Continue to require parents of students involved in extracurricular activities to attend conference for grade checks, remediation, and enhancement opportunities. We're going to keep doing that. The principal likes the idea, and it's a win-win situation not only for coaches, but it is for parents and the students, just to get all this information turned in and readily available for us. And here are the sources.